Hope you're doing well. Keller Knives here. Saw a video a while back by a man named Rowe, knife maker, who was showing the safe way of making knife scales using a miter saw. And I've started using his method. It works great. I've got a bandsaw. I've set it up for resawing. I've cut scales and resawing. But when you set up a bandsaw for resawing, it doesn't take much to get the bandsaw off, and then you've got to go back through the process of setting up your bandsaw, which can be kind of time consuming and aggravating. Also, using a bandsaw, I tend to do a lot of surface plate work after the bandsaw, ensuring that the scales are really square before I put them on the knife. Found with the miter saw, I've got scales that are almost completely or perfectly square, and it takes very little work on the surface plate after I've done it. Now with knives like paring knives, there we go, sorry about that. With knives like paring knives, I like to use smaller pieces of wood. I have less waste. This is a piece of cucabello that I've not stabilized yet. These are considered pin blanks. Here's a piece of red mallee burl that I stabilized, and then you can see the line there. I split this on the miter saw, book matched it. I can use larger pieces of wood, but I end up having more waste, which I don't want. Now, of course, with the miter saw, because of the thickness of the blade, you do have a little bit of waste, which is around 100 thou. But the trade-off for having square scales, to me, is worth it. With these scales here, that's actually plenty thick for a paring knife. This leopard wood here is a little thinner, so I'd probably add a line or two to it to thicken the scale up if I needed to. But anyway, Mr. Rowe, he cut a scale but didn't go through the whole process. I'm going to go through the whole process that I use. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the saw and just lightly saw on the outside, and that's just going to square that up, because when I glued this on with the wood glue, I didn't take the time to really make sure this is fully square on these sides, because I'm going to do that with the saw. So this is going to be loud, so bear with me. So just square that up a little bit, and beforehand I drew a center line on my piece of wood so I know about where I want to cut. I'm just going to line this up. All right. So, see how nice and clean. This is a 80 tooth carbide bit. Carbide saw blade. And now what I got to do is cut this one scale loose. And also, when I'm cutting this scale loose, I'm going to be cleaning up the outside of the scale that's on there. See if that's like I want. Alright. So, as you can see, the dust off. There are my scales. Nice and clean. Flat. And now I've got to do that is a square flat scale. This is a square flat scale. And I've got to do very, very minimal work now to put that on a knife. All right, hope that helps somebody. And thank you, Mr. Rowe.